welcome to this teaching on tattoos. I've done a number of tattoos. One was an overview of tattoos. One was concerning the motives of a person's heart. I've also looked at Leviticus 19, specifically the section which is commonly referenced by most Christians when considering a tattoo, or if you go to your pastor and ask him about tattoos, it'll be the most common verse that people take you to. And we've talked about what do you do if you have an ungodly tattoo. Okay, now after all four of those teachings, if you're sitting there and you say, I still want to get a tattoo, well, then the title of this teaching is, So You Want a Tattoo, huh? Okay, let's take a little time, and I want to review 7 possible practical keys or things that you need to consider before you get a tattoo. Number 1, what is the image that you want to get? As I've mentioned previously, I don't think it's ever acceptable for a Christian to get dark, demonic, ungodly images. Images which promote paganism, occultic things. I just don't see where that would be acceptable. I don't care what your motive is. I'm certain, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think that you need to be very, very, very careful on the type of tattoo that you want to get. Tattoos can be gotten for sentimental reasons. You know, I got this tattoo years ago, over 20, 25 years ago, and I got it in memory of my mother who died. It's a black rose tattoo. I got that for sentimental reasons, and for myself it has meaning. Every time I look at that, I reflect back on my mom and what she meant to me. There's also tattoos that you can get for patriotic reasons. I've got a Liberty Bell, and it says above it, "Let freedom ring." And it meant a lot to me at the time I got it, and I got it in reference to the freedom that I have in Christ. I also have tattoos which are Celtic in origin. They're Celtic armbands, warrior bands, and I have them on both sides of my arm. I'm not giving this teaching trying to promote tattoos in any way or shape or form, but I'm trying to obviate what's the image that you're going to get. I'm come from a long, I'm 100% Irish, and the Celtic thing is a very big thing for myself and my brothers. But I also have a tattoo on this arm which started as an image from a group that I was associated with, that then I ended up doing a cover-up over it. And the cover-up ended up being a dragon that spreads over this whole side of my arm and shoulder. Imagery is very important. So before you ever get a tattoo, this was ungodly. These other ones, I don't think that they're godly or ungodly. Be very careful though on the imagery you select. What is what are you getting, and why are you trying to get it? There's a very famous piece of artwork by Norman Rockwell called The Tattooist, and in this there's a sailor who's inebriated, and the tattoo artist is crossing off the 4th name of one of his girlfriends and tattooing a new name. Be very careful. Don't be impulsive in getting a tattoo. You can always get a tattoo. You can always get a tattoo. You don't have to get it today. In fact, that's one of the keys. Take some time. Wait. My little brother wanted to get a tattoo, and when he was younger, in his 20s, I said, you know what? I said, you can always get a tattoo, bro. Wait. When he was 40, he finally went out. He still wanted to get the tattoo, and he got it. And he got a great-looking tattoo to him and me. Now, that might be an oxymoron. I understand. Some people don't think any tattoos are great-looking. But the fact is, if you're listening to this, you're considering getting a tattoo. So I want you to think, number 1, is what is the imagery I'm getting it? The other one, and I mentioned earlier, is what's the motive for getting it? So be real clear on your motives. Another practical key is, where do you want that tattoo? Clearly, any tattoo that I have above my sleeve is not a limitation for me. I'm a Christian minister. I wasn't always a Christian minister. There were times where I couldn't or wouldn't get tattoos on my lower arms because it would be a limiting factor for me in the work that I did. What is the profession that you're going to go to? When it comes to tattoo, just like real estate, there's the same saying: location, location, location. You only have so much real estate. You only have so much skin. You're going to get a tattoo. Choose very wisely where you want it. I'm in the store the other day, and there's a woman in her late 50s, and she's got a big old tattoo on the back of her neck. or tattoos on the side of your neck, or be very careful where you're going to get a tattoo. You get tattoos on your lower arms, you're not going to cover them up. And you know what? Just because you want the tattoo now and tattoos are popular today, doesn't mean they're going to be popular 10 or 20 or 30 years from now. So consider very carefully where you're going to get a tattoo. I personally don't think that there's ever a place for tattoos on the face. Now I understand that there's those that are, in New Zealand and the Maori and well, that's a cultural thing for them. But in Western society, you start getting teardrops and things like that. I know, I've seen women, I've seen, the LA ink and the tattoos. We need to be very, very careful. That's all I'm going to caution you. And I'm not coming against anybody, but tattoos on the knuckles, on the hands, on the face, very, very careful. Another thing I want to mention for you girls is that a lot of ladies are getting tattoos in the small of their back. You've seen it, it's right in the middle of your back. Some of you have never ever considered the fact that that may have medical implications when you go to have a baby. I have a very good friend of mine who's an anesthesiologist, and he said that they, I don't know if it's still this way, but I know that they would not do the spinal blocks when women were pregnant and going to have a baby because of the tattoo. Where they give a spinal block to interrupt, the sensations, below the waist during birth of a baby. They didn't want to be pushing that ink into the spinal cavity. Some of these things have great implications, and you really need to consider, again, location, location, location. Another thing to consider is who are you getting the tattoo from? Not all tattoo artists are the same, and just because your cousin Vinny or Billy Bob bought his brand new Acme tattoo kit and he's going to give you free tattoos, that's not a good reason. A tattoo is a permanent mark, and a tattoo artist is an artist first. A tattooist probably second. I've seen lots of tattoos that just aren't right. People that are inexperienced tattoo too deeply into the skin, and all tattoos change over time. The skin does a process called cell migration, and I don't care how clear the tattoo is, it won't stay that way. 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, it'll look different. And an artist knows how deep to go and how deep not to go. And bad tattoos migrate quickly. So this is something you need to consider. The other thing is, what's the sanitation of the place you're going to? I have a friend of mine who got hepatitis C because they got a tattoo in Mexico. Not a good thing. Hepatitis C is a devastating disease which affects the liver and has potential life-threatening disease. People have gotten AIDS. And when you go to a tattoo shop, this is not this is a medical procedure in the sense that you're piercing the skin. I have a son-in-law who just last year got a tattoo while on vacation, ended up sick for 6 weeks and thousands of dollars in medical bills because of a staph infection in the tattoo. So again, who are you getting the tattoo from? Sterile equipment, sterile shops, new needles. Make sure there's no cross-contamination. They don't reuse ink. Ink wells are thrown out after each person. This is a serious thing. You've got, again, all of these health factors to consider. And then the other thing to ask yourself is, are you really ready for a tattoo? Is this something that you really want to do? If you're under 18, no. It's illegal in most states, if not all, to get a tattoo. And again, as I did with my brother, I caution people. I have a number of tattoos, but they've been over periods of time, and they haven't always been in the right circumstances when I got them. And my mind was not in the right framework. So consider that. And then the last thing is this really the best use of your money? If you're having trouble making rent, don't use that money for tattoos. Tattoos are luxuries. So hopefully you'll think twice before you go get that tattoo.